All right, today we are diving deep into a really complex digital ecosystem called Bellator. Seriously, this thing has a ton of moving parts. We're talking payment gateways, NFTs, its own crypto token, the whole shebang. So what's really going on here? Let's untangle it.
You see this quote? The entire Bellator system is basically framed as the answer to this exact problem. They position themselves as a direct response to those get-rich-quick models that burn out fast. This idea right here is the philosophy they claim to be building everything on.
So to really get our heads around this, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the core idea, their philosophy. Then, we'll check out the actual products. After that, we'll see how they supposedly generate income, look at the token that fuels the whole thing, and finally, we'll put all the pieces together.
Okay, first up, the why. Every complex system has a big idea behind it, and for Bellator, it's all about bringing this warrior's mindset into the world of business.
And that whole warrior's path thing, it starts with the name. Bellator is Latin for warrior. The name is meant to signal this relentless focus on delivering real value and building something that lasts. Not just surviving in a competitive space, but actually thriving.
And here's how they frame their whole approach, by drawing a really clear line in the sand. On one side, you've got what they call the fast money model, short-sighted, risky, and usually ends in losses. But on the other side, there's their winning formula, which they claim is all about creating lasting value through actual, tangible products and services.
So that's the big idea, the philosophy. But how does that actually work in practice? If the goal is long-term value, what are the products that are supposed to generate it? Well, that brings us to what they call the Miracle Cash and More ecosystem.
This ecosystem is really built on two main pillars. First, under financial services, you've got a crypto exchange, a payment gateway called Miracle Pay, and even crypto debit cards. Then, on the Web3 side of things, we see decentralized services like Miracle Swap, a leveraged trading platform, and this is the important one, the Phonic Node NFT, which we're going to get to in just a second.
Right, so they've got all these products, but the big question is, how are users actually supposed to earn anything from all this? And that leads us right to the core mechanism they've built for generating passive income.
The whole passive income idea really hangs on this thing called the Phonic Node NFT. The easiest way to think about it is like a digital key. If you hold one of these NFTs, you're entitled to a share of the revenue that comes in from all those different products across the entire ecosystem.
So here's how they say the money flows, and it's basically a four-step process. First, all those ecosystem products generate revenue. Second, that revenue gets collected into one big pool. Third, it gets distributed out as passive income to everyone holding a Node NFT. And fourth, and this is a key detail, a chunk of it, 20% to be exact, is used to buy back their own token from the market, supposedly to help support its price.
And that brings us to the fuel for this whole engine, the Phonic token, or PNIC. This thing is designed to be the economic lifeblood of the entire system.
Now, if you dig into the white paper, you'll see PNIC is an ERC20 standard token built on the Avalanche C chain. The idea is that it's not just another crypto coin, it's meant to be the central piece that captures and distributes all the value being created by all those products we just looked at.
The total supply is a little over 5.5 billion PNIC tokens, and how they've allocated them kind of gives you a blueprint for their economy. You can see right here, 20% went to the pre-sale. Another 18% is set aside for Web3 app development, and the team is holding on to 9%.
But here, this is what's really fascinating. Take a look at the vesting schedule for the people who got in early. Their tokens are locked up and released over these incredibly long timelines. We're talking 180 to 240 months. That is 15 to 20 years. This detail ties directly back to that whole philosophy of no fast money and being in it for the long haul.
Okay, so let's pull back and put all of these pieces together. We need to see the full picture they're trying to paint here, from that warrior philosophy all the way down to how the token works. So here's the complete system, at least in theory. It all starts with the philosophy of long-term value. That philosophy drives them to build actual revenue-generating products in the Miracle ecosystem. The revenue from those products then feeds the Phoenix nodes, which is the mechanism for sharing the profits. And the whole thing is powered by that central PNIC token, which is supposed to soak up the value of the entire system.
And that really brings us to the final critical question. This whole model is built on tying a bunch of different business lines, payments, NFTs, DeFi, all into a single token. The ambition is huge, no doubt,
But is this a truly sustainable new model for digital assets, or is its own complexity its biggest weakness? That's really the key thing to think about here.